So the purpose of this call, as you all know, is to come together around mid-career issues and getting jobs, staying in the workforce, and supporting one another and coming up with strategies and tactics to defy ageism, to find the work that we want to do, and to flip the script on the broken hiring system. I'm glad that April Colson's on the call today. She and I have been going back and forth about her particular situation. Hey, April. And I hope we'll get to hear from her over the course of the call today. Before we went live, Clarke was sharing some thoughts about his particular situation, and I wanted to kind of get back to him as well and learn a little bit more about what's going on with him. So Clarke, if you can, maybe you're a little bit clearer, but if you can find a light and shine it right in your face, that would be great. And let's hear what you're dealing with.
I think I may be technically challenged for my studio today. I don't have a fancy light in front of me or a movable too.
That's all right. You're looking a little bit better.
Okay, cool. So my challenge basically is I'm a seasoned person. That's a term to be used in the modern work era rather. But when I apply for positions for which I have more than enough skills that they're requesting, it still gets the disappointing no, thank you type of response. Or even if I get a response, that may be what it is. So it can be very frustrating. It can be very challenging, humbling. I find that I've been doing a lot of soul searching internally and just trying and talking to myself in the mirror a whole lot and just trying to understand what's going on.
Right.
But I don't have an answer. It's
Right.
just, I'm sure it's something, I just don't know what it is.
So Clarke, what do you do specifically? What is your field of expertise?
I am a computer programmer by trade. I haven't done programming since 2001. That was when the Y2K happened. So since then, I turned into management in IT, where I have been doing infrastructure management, program management, project management. And so over time, I've led teams from different parts of the globe and also different footprints in the United States.
Right.
But I've been that person whose name always comes up with, oh, let's get rid of the high paying one. And my name is coming up. My name always came up. Through no fault of my own, that's just the game. That's just the CODB. So
what kind of companies have you been working for?
Media. I work for a company. Mostly it's been on the East Coast. I've done a lot of contracting for small contracting companies, but my client was a big company. And unfortunately, the big company decided to cut back on expenses. So again, my name came up again.
So was that a contract position or was that a full-time?
The first one, or worked many years, was a full-time. The last one I explained before were a series of contracted positions. So I came in for a particular task. The task was completed, and I was asked to go. So on my resume, it looks like I'm job hopping, but I'm not job hopping. That's just how I worked, especially since the pandemic. The pandemic was a job killer.
But reason I'm asking these questions about contract versus employment is that as a contractor, do you think of yourself more as a generalist, or do you have a particular area of specialization that you offer to your clients?
More lately, a good question, John. I have been thinking about being more. I have been thinking about rather. I have more. Probably have been leaning towards more like a liberal arts type of a technology, but I do have a specialty in coaching and mentoring because I'm always asked for questions and answers, or answers to questions of the teams I'm managing. That may be my hustle, my side hustle. I don't know. But how to translate that into a full-time position, I don't know. It's just
right. Well, when I'm talking about specialty, I'm talking about specialty in IT consulting. Is there a particular skill set that you deliver on? Is there a particular solution that you offer that you could productize and dine out on as kind of your lead, your way in to representing yourself and solving a particular problem and then trying to essentially find companies that need that solution.
Like a 30-second elevator pitch, or even probably less than that.
Well, that's a way in which you can represent it, but more importantly, what is the solution that you fix? What is it that you could say is the one bottom line problem that many companies have, or companies in a particular sector, or companies that are dealing with, I don't know, a particular infrastructure expansion, whatever that might be. What is it that you fix?
Yeah, I understand. I hear you now. I'm more on.
You don't have to answer the question here. I'm just saying that as a matter of perhaps more effectively representing yourself and getting more traction, where you are perceived as a particular expert versus a generalist who is coming in to be part of a team. This could help you identify clients and companies that would be more open to your services, and where you would be in a more equitable dialogue with them around delivering value to them.
I hear you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
And the one other thing another little trick on this is the question of being a job hopper. If you, on your experience section and in your resume, lead with your shingle, Clarke Lewis Infotech, or whatever that title might be, and you nest all of your jobs, gigs over the past few years under that shingle, then you don't look like a job hopper. You look like a consultant with clients. And you flip the script from someone saying, oh, well, he can't keep a job, or what happened, or what, did you get fired, or what happened, to, oh, this guy's got a string of clients. Obviously, he's doing something right because he keeps getting hired.
Okay, I agree. Good point. Thank you.
So that might be helpful.
Very helpful. Thank you.
John?
Yes, Marty.
I just had a thought that maybe could help. We're in the film industry, and everybody now, as of this year, is looking at ways to use AI in their company, and they're hiring people in various management positions to search for that, to integrate it, and I think in other industries also. So getting up on AI and being able to say, I know AI, I think would be valuable in that field.
I think that's a really good point. The other thing about AI, which I think is great for all of us, is that AI can be an assistant for us in helping us better describe what it is that we do. So, Clarke, you might want to put your resume into ChatGPT and say, analyze this resume and tell me what the top takeaways are, and suggest ways in which I can better compose or represent my value.
I like that.
Great idea.
Harold.
Yes,
Come
thank
on
you.
camera, that would be great.
My camera's not working right now. I'm sorry. I have a Frankenstein machine, and that means it's very old. I'll lower my hand, but I have a question. You were talking to Clarke, and I didn't understand. It's my problem. I didn't understand your explanation about listing something so that it doesn't appear that you're job hopping. Can you go through that explanation one more time, please?
Absolutely. So this is a great feature on LinkedIn that people don't take advantage of. LinkedIn will, if you've had multiple positions in the same company, LinkedIn will nest those positions under the one company title. So if you're working for, I don't know, General Motors, and you've been, a junior manager, and then you get to become a senior manager, and then you become a director or whatever. As long as you're in that same company, it will say General Motors, 17 years, 5 months, and then it'll list those positions underneath. You can use that to your advantage by essentially inventing your own company and consistently putting that company, that consulting practice in the company field in each job listing. And then under your title, instead of just putting the title will become the client and the role. So if your company is Harold Jeter Consulting and you have a job with, I don't know, General Electric, you could put GE : director of sales or interim, head of whatever. And then your next company, the same thing. Under title, you list the company and the job. And on your LinkedIn profile, it will look like Harold Jeter's Consulting with all of these jobs nested underneath it with the dates. Does that make sense?
Excellent. Excellent. Now I see. Thank you. I see.
Yeah.
I see.
It's a great trick, and it just completely repositions you to the world as a consultant. And I really advocate for everyone, particularly if you are between gigs. And I've gotten in trouble on this with LinkedIn. People are like, recruiters are like all over me about this. I completely disagree with this little green open to work circle. I think you should never represent yourself as a supplicant. Please hire me. I'm open to work. It's like, everyone on LinkedIn is open to work, guys, right? This is not news. You want to be always representing the fact that you are working in your profession and you are looking for the next opportunity. Perhaps maybe you're not earning right now, but you are still working and staying current in the work that you do. So get rid of the little green circle. And if you're between jobs, put up a consulting shingle as your top experience section, experience on your experience section. And in that little blurb, describe your perfect job. And it is something that you could do as a consultant. It could be something that you could do in-house. But whatever that is, it represents what you love to do, what you do well, what's useful, and what you can get paid for. Those 4 Ikigai questions, which I talk about a lot in my practice.
Hey, John, do you have any ideas or any examples of that you would share with us?
Of
Like an email?
which aspect? Of the consultant thing?
The whole shingle thing, yeah. Consulting thing?
Nothing that I can pull up right now. Just trying to think if I've got stuff on the blog. I'm sure there's stuff on the blog about that.
Okay.
And you can look on my profile. There's actually, I'll try to pull this up and put a link to it in the chat. I've got a brochure, ebook, whatever, that lists a series of LinkedIn profiles, some of which have this feature implemented. So
Okay.
let me see if I can pull that up and put that link in the chat. Dag, you had your hand up.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You're showing Clarke how to use ChatGPT, but there is one thing that I've been using, which is JobScan. Has worked well, and Upwork to set yourself up as a gig person.
Yep.
And I've been doing gigs for the last 12, 13 years specifically. With a couple of stints where I help a small company and they get bought out by a bigger company and the bigger company wants me there. So you'll see that. But most of my gig work has coming from networking. People know what I do, what I've done for other people, and they call me. And for example, I was taking time off. I knew I was going to be having foot surgery, so I wanted to do my vacation early. So I went the first 2 weeks in December to Italy to enjoy some great food and wine. And sure enough, I get tapped on the shoulder by somebody via LinkedIn, and I said, yeah, I'll gladly talk to you. So, well, we're in Italy. And I said, coincidentally, I'm in Italy. 2.5 hours later, I'm meeting face to face with them, and I've got a gig out of them. So networking has helped a lot, and I've worked along with for the gig economy. And JobScan has been great, helping me out because when you do gigs, you have ups and downs, right? It's a lumpy business sometimes. If you spend 6 months doing a gig, you'll spend so much time on the gig that you don't do yourself any marketing good by working so hard. So you have to keep the marketing going. So Upwork has been good for that. And
what do you do?
And JobScan, depending on how long I'm on the bench, I'm not against working W-2. I'll work W-2, 1099, whatever is convenient. But with JobScan, I look at a position that I, like Clarke was saying, I'm qualified, but I get the thanks but no thanks, ageism, whatever you want to call it. And JobScan will tell you how you fit that job description. So you load up the job description, your resume, and it'll give you a score from 0 to 100 saying how well you fit. So if your score is 50, means that you'll have 5 times the chance of somebody scoring a 10, right? So JobScan has helped me express myself in those 7 to 12 words that CEOs need to know about your value proposition. Just adding feedback to you, Clarke. And Clarke, if you want to connect with me, I'll gladly help you out. I work with small businesses and individuals, and sometimes I work with them on coaching, and I do it for free. I do it through the church as well. So feel free to chat. I've been doing it for about 12, 13 years now.
Dag, if you would put your, maybe put your either email or your LinkedIn in the chat so that Clarke can take that down, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm familiar with JobScan also. That's a very nice tool.
Yeah. But I think, to Dag's point about Upwork, I don't know if, Clarke, if you're on Upwork, but for what you do, that might be a very successful side area of focus for you, and you might pick up some small business related gigs on that. Dag, what do you do?
Me specifically?
Yeah. I
accidentally became a sales guy and set up sales organizations for small businesses. I come in to help them grow. I've been in operations most of my life, but somebody thought I was good in sales, and now everybody wants me for sales, which is kind of weird.
And how long have you been doing that? The sales stuff?
Off and on for about 15 years.
Right. Well, I guess it's sticking.
I'm more of an operations guy. That's why they like me in sales, because I understand the other side of the fence.
Clara, you had your hand up.
Yeah. Hey, John. Hey, everybody. John, I think I came into your world a few years ago with one of the UCLA coaching segments. So I really appreciate that you're doing this. I am in a transition. I don't know if you recall, I wrote a book called SOS to ROI, and it's basically about helping companies go from distress to success. And I just finished up a gig with a private equity company turning around a division in LA area, and it was highly successful. But that was the first time I ever did it as the GM versus as a consultant. And so it's kind of like trying to figure out the best way to do what you kind of said on the LinkedIn, which is how to represent that value proposition, regardless of how I plug in as a leader, the advisor, a W-2 or a 1099, and kind of just make it about the skill set, because we had a great time and we did an awesome job. They just transitioned to the cheaper long-term person, and it was awesome. So I'm just trying to figure that out and want to just be part of the community. The one question I did have is, when you do the nested LinkedIn, like you said, can the nested roles have the logo of the client, or does it all have to be under the same thing? Right. So that's my challenge, I think.
Yeah, you're going to lose the logos if you do it that way, because the logo is going to attach to the company.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can have your logo in there, and if you another little trick, if you create a company page on LinkedIn, which is really easy to do, and they don't require any particular validation or verification. You can put your company logo in there, and then when you add your company into your list there, or at the head of your list, your logo will show up. So it
Yeah.
makes it look even more professional.
Okay.
But you're going to lose your client logos.
Right.
But what you can do is if you're using creator mode, in your featured section, you can create a graphic on, say, Canva, or if you have your own graphics program, but Canva, which is free, it's what everyone uses to screw around with graphics. You can create like a banner with all of the client logos. You could even put that in your banner behind your profile picture. And if you want to go full on, representing yourself as this consulting firm, you can put your value proposition headline in that banner at the very top of your profile and throw a few of the logos in there for your clients.
Yeah.
So there's lots of ways
John,
That's a great idea.
representing yourself.
John, although I think it's good advice, I would be nervous a little bit or cautious in using using a company's logo. They may come after you to say you don't have the right to use it. It's a copyright question.
I mean, sure. That may be. I think we see this a lot, where we see logos a lot on.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. I certainly have on my website, I've got a little line of logos of all my press and all that stuff. I don't think companies are quite so sensitive about that. I think they appreciate the publicity.
Free advertising.
Yeah. But it's certainly something to think about.
Okay.
One other thing I want to say, Larry, about the GM role, was that a contract role or was that a W-2 role?
That was a contract role.
Right.
Yeah,
So
it was
think
basically a 6 to 18 months, either assess the company and shut it down or grow it. And we were able to grow it. And then I exited at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So
It still fits under your overall heading.
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, the way I got the role was, through my book and the network and all that. And it's exactly, like mirrors what the book is, even though most of my gigs with the book tended to be consulting roles, advisory roles.
Right.
Right.
The other thing I would say that about that and about your question about how to leverage the GM role is to use your about section and to, and I think you remember my point about the about, which is that it's not a rehash of your bio. It's not anything that you will find in your experience section. It's really about who you are, why you do what you do, and where you're going. But I think in that context, to plug the GM experience in there as that signature deliverable, you have an opportunity to further expand upon the value, right? And help direct someone who's coming onto your profile to understand where you want to go with it.
Yeah. Okay. Love it. Thank you so much.
Sure. Harold, let's get back to you.
Thank you. I'm extremely new to looking for a job in 2024, and you've mentioned LinkedIn on several occasions. Are there any recommendation about books where I can teach myself LinkedIn that you would say?
I would shortcut the process and I would go right to YouTube and just start searching for LinkedIn profile tips and tutorials, and you will come up with lots of stuff. You can also check on my blog. I've got some articles about that, which kind of put my particular spin on it. But yeah, this is job one for you. If you don't have a tricked out LinkedIn profile, jump on it. And
Thank
there's
you.
lots of free resources out there. And LinkedIn itself has a pretty good help section on that, but it's very hard to navigate for some reason. They make it very difficult. So, as with everything, it's YouTube for me. Marty.
Thanks. I do a lot of things. I've directed features, shot features, screenwriter. I'm the Writers Guild. Right now, I'm directing a documentary on the war in Ukraine. Nothing is making money though. I mean, eventually finish the film, maybe sell it to Netflix, or maybe give it away to PBS. Yeah, I guess some tips of way to be making money. I would think someone who has been on the lines in Ukraine during the war seems like an unusual experience that people might want to access and pay for. And I'm a cameraman,
Right.
get camera jobs, but ageism really applies there.
Right. Yeah.
And one other, I guess, specific little question is any tips on fixing IMDb Pro the way you look, because mine's terrible. I do all those things and I think it comes up actor or something.
Yeah. I don't have any advice for you on IMDb. It's as you can tell, I'm kind of out of the day-to-day of the business. I mean, I think that, again, you should look around and see if there are any help files available by searching for how to trick out your IMDb. And in terms of your other situation, look, the entertainment business is all about network, as you know, right? And so that is your number one resource. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you that in my years in entertainment, I had a resume. I never submitted a resume. It was all making phone calls, right? And I think the rest of the world has kind of caught up or devolved down to what the entertainment business is about. You've got to use your network. And I think that applies both in terms of getting work, selling your work, whatever that might be, and having a way to represent it. So in business generally, this is why LinkedIn is so important, because it is the one area, it's the one place where you can have total control over your message. And that becomes the core information set that you use for your application in the business. You're going to have to figure out what that is, whether it's a reel. If you decide that you want to focus more specifically on being a cinematographer, well, then you're going to have to figure that out in terms of putting that reel together, having those specialties and skill sets that represent your style, and then going out and networking your way to those opportunities and working your way up.
Do you know, does LinkedIn have cinematographer and director?
Well, you can. I just don't think that people in the entertainment business or in the film business specifically are necessarily going to go to LinkedIn. There are other networks that exist, in professional networks in the entertainment area for the crafts. And I would check those out and make sure that you are listed and networking on all of those sites. There are a number of them.
I know people put reels in no, I'm blanking. Well, Facebook and what the thing were.
No, but these are
Instagram.
specific professional networks for entertainment and in the crafts. So I'm not current on that area anymore, but they exist. So I would definitely suggest that you look and try to put those resources together. Howard.
Thanks.
How's it going?
Give me a second to come off mute. Hey, hi everybody. So two things. Number one is around ageism. I wonder how much of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that these employers have is around how long are you going to work for me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we're going to invest in you, blah, 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 blah. And then a year and a half, you're going to get bored and say, you know what? My Social Security is not bad. I think I'm going to retire. So that was number one. Number two, it's horrible because I've been selling solutions to human resources all my career. That's all I've ever done, and I kind of know how these people work. Company that I was with for 7 years, made a lot of money at, and I'm going to leave their name out of this. I reached out to them in December about a position well qualified for. I was the senior vice president and general manager of the entire division, full P&L responsibility. And it was for a sales leadership role on one of the teams. It took them 2.5 weeks to get back to me to tell me that someone made the decision that even in this virtual world we live in, it needed to be domiciled in the Rust Belt. And as you can tell, I'm outside on my lanai. Obviously, I'm not in the Rust Belt. Then HR reached out to me a couple of weeks ago. We opened up another role. Same thing. It's a sales leadership, team leadership role, well qualified for it. They brought in a new person from one of the competitors who is now the area vice president. Make a long story short, had my interview on the calendar with him for this morning for an hour. The call lasted 7 minutes when he told me, hey, they pulled my rec. I no longer have an open rec.
Huh.
So I don't know if it was because I was on camera and he took a look and said, hey, this guy's a year older than dirt. And he electively shut it down. I don't know, but that's one. So tomorrow I'm interviewing with someone who used to work for me, who's now a leader at one of the competitors. And my question is, by taking an individual contributor role, carrying a bag again, as an inroad to get into the organization, am I shooting myself in the foot? I mean, are people going to say, hey, wait a minute, you were here and now you're doing this?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very hopeful that tomorrow she's going to make me an offer because I have to do something. I'm just
a lot to unpack here. So let me
go
try
ahead.
to get this in order. To the first question about, how long are you going to stay, right? Don't you want to retire? These are myths. And it's time that we all stand up and push back on these myths. The statistics are that the average length of a job tenure today is around 4 years. For younger professionals, Gen Z, younger millennials, it's about 1.5 years. For older workers, it's longer, 4, 5, 6 years. So this idea that, oh, you're older, you're not gonna stay, is completely upside down. And you may want to reassure them without scolding them that you're in this for the long haul, which leads to the second question. Which I'm now blanking on from the last thing you were talking about the interview that you're going on.
Yeah, am I shooting myself?
So, so this gets back to the overqualified question, right? Aren't you a little overqualified for this job? And the reply is, well, just because I've done something more senior doesn't mean that I want to go back to that. And one of the things that you got to understand is that having done all of these things in the past, I've decided that I've kind of come full circle. And when I look back on all the work that I've done, what I realize is that I really love doing this job that I'm going up on. And that's what I want to focus on. I'm not interested in climbing the ladder. I'm not interested in replacing you or someone else in the organization and using this as a stepping stone. I really want to do this job. And here's why. Because I really enjoy this part of it. This is where my skill set comes in. I enjoy this part, the strategy, this, whatever that might be. But this is what I want to do. And I want to do it for the foreseeable future. And I'm in good health. I get a kick out of going to work. And to the extent that I can use my experience to support my other colleagues working in the same department, I'm happy to do it. I'm pretty generous with my ideas and my time, and anything I can do to support other people, I'd be happy to support the department that way. So you kind of create this big tent around what you love to do, and it's right there on the job description. Does that help?
It helps so much that I want you to send me the link to the recording of the call.
You will, the
Thank you.
link will go up. You will have that by the weekend.
Thank you, my brother of another mother.
Exactly. But, you know, these are really great questions, and this comes up all the time. And we have a lot of myths that we need to push back against and very gently help inform people through walking your talk that you're not part of this mythos. Now, we'll say that ageism being the last ism, you're not going to turn someone around who is biased against an older worker. And that guy who told you that the rec got pulled on him, maybe it did, maybe it didn't, maybe he's just got a big issue. You know, there's nothing you're going to be able to do about that. What you can do is use your network, is really rely on your contacts. And Howard, you're doing that. You've got this interview with this prior contact. And I think for everyone on the call, we have this responsibility to ourselves to really dig deep into our networks and to reach out to people that we've worked with, get referrals, take a research attitude towards this in order to get those referrals. And you say, well, look, I love to get introduced to some people who are doing this, not because I'm looking for a job, but because I'm interested in learning what's going on in the industry, in the business. And if you use your LinkedIn and look at the connections of your connections and identify people working at companies, doing roles that you find interesting and that could lead to something for you eventually, you want to try to connect to those people purely from an informational standpoint. I mean, at the beginning of, I think, certainly my career, and I'm sure for many of us on the call, the way you got to work when you're coming out of school is you go and you meet a lot of people. And you try to get into conversations and you get a referral to someone else. And eventually you land in a position where someone says, yeah, I actually do have a job. Come on in.
Hey, John, just one other thing.
Yeah.
So there's a great call on Fridays. It's put on by it used to be Leap John. They were just acquired by Mercer. It's called The Now of Work. It's on Crowdcast, I think it's called, Fridays at 1 o'clock. And it's all HR people talking about all the problems that people have in recruiting. Okay. Truth be told, I mean, when you take a look at LinkedIn and you take a look at a job you're interested in that was posted yesterday and there's 737 applicants, and then you look at it a week later and there's 4,200 applicants, the recruiters aren't looking at any of those applicants.
That's right.
They're only looking at employee referrals. They don't have time. They've got 60 open recs on their desk. And as soon as they clear those, they're going to have 60 more. So they don't want to screw around with the unknown. Even though you look great on paper and you have ChatGPT write the best cover letter ever. You're right. You said this a couple of calls ago. It's a total waste of time.
Yeah, this is why people get ghosted. And they wonder why. Why am I getting ghosted? Well, it's because there's a tremendous volume of this fire hose, and they have to post, right? A lot of those jobs on LinkedIn are old jobs. They're filled, or they, in many cases, are jobs that are kind of placeholders. They're actually not hiring for that position, but they're just kind of like casting a hook into the stream. And every once in a while they kind of look and they see who's applied to it, but it's not serious. So yeah, so applying to jobs online is just a fool's errand. April, you still on the call? Yes, there you are. Hi there. You want to come on and tell us what's going on?
Hi. Yeah, well, I don't know if I have it like all kind of together, but I'm just, I've been working for a company, loving my position, really. They let me work from home. It's really my best, most productive setting because it's quiet. I've got natural lighting. I'm a graphic designer. And I don't have all the chaos of sitting in the middle of all of the salespeople with the phones ringing and the speaker phone calls and the customer service pop music blaring in the background. So I've been really happy, but someone I think at the top wants me to be in the office, and just, I'm so happy right now. Then they're going to pull me into the office real soon for 1 day a week, which probably doesn't sound like much, but I'm pretty introverted. And so I think for some people they'd be like, yay, I'd like to be in the office, but that's not me. And maybe I'm being too picky, but I would really like to find a position where I can do what I do, where I'm comfortable and where I'm most productive. And I've been told I'm doing an excellent job and that they see that I'm more productive at home, but there's something going on in the background where somebody wants me in there. So I just don't know, but
it's the control thing.
Yeah. And we've gone kind of round and round about this. Every time it comes up, we have the conversation and, explain that, look at what I'm doing, look at all the work I've done. And, I respond to everybody who calls me for help with this. I need this, I need that. I get it. I get them whatever they need right away so they can keep doing their job. That's kind of what I figure part of my job is. So anyway, and then we're having that conversation with my boss and he says, yes, I can see that, like, don't worry about it. We'll just let it be. And then it comes up again. It's like it's on a loop. It just keeps coming back.
Right.
So,
yeah. So in the conversation that we've been having, my suggestion is, knuckle under, do the 1 day a week, grin and bear it. I'd mentioned about going in either Monday or Friday because Monday they're recovering from the weekend. They're kind of getting their own stuff together. Friday they're focused on the weekend. They're trying to get out of there. So the scrutiny on you is going to be less. It's going to be easier for you to navigate in the office. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Tuesday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, you'll be able to be home doing your best work. And then look for something else. When I take the opportunity to really start networking using a lot of the tools that we talked about here on the call today and all the other stuff to start getting out there. And, to the point that Dag was making about these specific job and work related platforms in the graphic and art area, there are a tremendous number, not a tremendous number, but there are certain, Adobe's got a few, I think is it Behance is the network that they have and that Adobe does. There are a number of really art and design oriented, creator focused job networks and professional networks that you want to be a part of, and you want to be active on these to, broaden out your reach. As well as LinkedIn, of course.
Yes, I do have a portfolio on the Adobe Creative Cloud. They have like a portfolio site, so that's up there. And I probably need to be on Behance even more than just
And you can put your portfolio on LinkedIn, right? You can use your creator mode to put your work in the featured section. So that you can have, and I haven't looked at your profile, but you have an opportunity to put some of your work in your banner behind your profile photo.
Oh, I do have that.
Great.
I probably need to update it. It's been there for a few years already, but
and to that point, you could consider changing it up every month.
Oh,
right.
That brings that's my question now. What happens when my coworkers and my employers see me updating my LinkedIn profile? I don't want to be out of a job before I
Right.
have a new one.
Well, I think if you're updating your background banner with new artwork, there's nothing there's nothing suspicious about that. You're just showing off your stuff.
Okay.
Right? So that's one.
Right.
But in terms of spiffing up your profile, and we talked a little bit about this on email, and this applies more broadly, this is a very delicate situation. If you've got the job, which is great because you always want to go to a new job from the job you're in, you don't ideally want to be doing this from being unemployed.
Yeah.
But then the question is, how do you represent yourself in such a way that you don't ring bells with your employer and they think you're looking for another job?
Yeah.
And the strategy, I think, is to really talk about the work that you are currently doing in the most positive ways possible and align it with your value proposition, what you do best, what you love to do. And really tread this fine line between, you don't want to come across as being disloyal or as looking for something else. You really want to support the work that you're currently doing, but do so in such a way where someone who is on the outside reading it would say, wow, that person's really focused and positive about the work that they're doing for their current employer. And I like the quality they're talking about, or the area, the specific area that they work in. And I like the way they talk about the work that they do. They seem to have a certain degree of mindfulness about this. This might be someone we should consider. Maybe they would be interested in entertaining a new position. That's the kind of mindset that you're trying to bring onto your page.
Thank you for saying that. That actually understand it better hearing it from you than from in our email. That it really, it resonates much with me. I understand that. Yeah,
Great.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions about that whole strategy? It seemed pretty clear.
I think so. Yeah, I do.
Right.
And I should just say that I read somewhere, and so I did this. I turned off like all notifications on my LinkedIn profile for now, so I'm not like ping, 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 whoever is.
Yeah, and you do want to turn all that off, right? Turn off, every time you sneeze on your LinkedIn, you don't want people to know that you've sneezed.
Yeah, you just leave it off all the time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I never have any notifications on. Only, I guess it's you want to direct people to your profile consciously, right? You want to send a link to your profile to someone that you want to take a look at it. You don't want things going out. It's not Facebook.
Right.
Marty, and then Angela. You're muted. There you go.
Yeah. I just picked up, you're saying it's a waste of time to apply to jobs online. And I wonder if you could sort of distinguish between, you were saying get on job related networks and things like Indeed, which is offering jobs, which I've never gotten any response from.
Right. Well, yeah, but that's not a professional network. That's a job board. So yeah, so Indeed, Monster, these are all wastes of time because those positions are getting hundreds and hundreds of apps.
Right. Ones like Mandy, and there's a number of crew related ones that keep popping up. And
right. Well, if you have a very specific, very narrow, I mean, Dag was talking about JobScan, and Upwork again. Upwork is a very different kind of a platform. Upwork is a freelancer platform. It's not a corporate job site like Indeed, or any of these big sites. Every time I see an Indeed ad on TV, I shudder and think, oh my God, this is such BS. Anyway.
Wasted a lot of time on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Angela. You're muted. There we
Oh,
go.
well, I've an unusual situation. I am in a state-sponsored program right now where I am supposed to be collecting unemployment because I was laid off from a job, an administrative job. I've been looking to make a transition. So I'm in a graphic design program. I had some interviews, what do you call those? Information interviews
Informational. Mhm.
with a couple of people in the industry. Um, but they encouraged me to apply for a lot of jobs, and a lot of them have been online, and I haven't gotten any answers from any of them. But I've just been employed by, retailers. Right now, I'm being interviewed for a job in a music school as an administrator and event coordinator. So I kind of like that. So it keeps the money coming in while I'm on unemployment. And then they also are very flexible with the school schedule that I have.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of in between things right now, and I'm trying to gather a portfolio up because I've been mostly in administrative. So I really don't have a portfolio to show these people. Every time I see the descriptions for the jobs, they're asking for 3+ years of Adobe. I don't have that. I'm learning it, but I obviously don't have that.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to get a portfolio through the classes, build one through the classes I'm taking. So I'm doing that, but I'm hoping I get this job for the music school because that
Right.
encompasses a lot of creativity stuff, and you can meet a lot of people that way.
Yes.
So that's what I'm trying to do. And on my LinkedIn profile, I meant to ask you, that's what I'm trying to do. I don't know how to identify myself
Right.
because I still kind of want to work. My unemployment isn't going to last forever, but I can't get a job with my artistic stuff there. So I put administrative at the end to kind of remind them I am a normal person.
Right.
So I really don't know how to describe myself on the LinkedIn profile. It's kind of hard for me to say, I want to be an artist, but I do know how to do this administrative stuff, but I don't really want the administrative stuff. So I'm kind of stuck in between. I don't know how to identify myself in that.
It is a dilemma. I think for better or worse, you want to, if it were me, I would focus on what's going to make you money in the short term and dial that in while you are building traction, getting your portfolio together, building your expertise in the art and design area, and then networking separately, creating kind of a whole different persona around that, which then you can gradually bring into your main focus. So if you define yourself as an administrative professional and you have your history of jobs and you can talk about the value that you deliver as an administrative professional, you could also talk about your creativity. And that could go towards the kinds of solutions that you provide, maybe creative programs that you have initiated or want to initiate in the work that you do, bringing art and design, other arts into the work. Just kind of brainstorming here to figure out ways of creating a story for you that keeps you focused on where you're earning money, where you're more likely to earn money right now, but also starts to leave the door open or starts to open the door a little bit and shed a little bit of light on this creative side so that you can at least start having some conversations around this. But I think because you don't have that portfolio together yet, and you don't, sounds like you're learning the skill sets. And I'd love to I want to have April comment on this and have her give you some suggestions. Sounds like you want to continue to focus where your bread and butter could be for the time being.
Yes.
April, what should she be doing? Come off mute.
Sorry, just had my screen thing hidden. Well, if you're on Adobe programs, you're on the Creative Cloud. If you go into the Creative Cloud main page, that lists all of your programs and all kinds of other things. And in the left column, I think it's towards the bottom, where there's a portfolio. And if you just click on that, you can open up a place where you can choose from all kinds of different arrangements and settings, and then upload your artwork and put titles to it and links to other pieces, and you can just build it right there. It's very nice. And then
That's in adobe.com.
I think it's at Creative Cloud. Let me see.
If you Google Adobe Creative Cloud, the site will come up.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing that just occurs to me as we're talking here, and April, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on this, is, Angela, if you've got a particular, you know, graphic, you know, skill set, maybe it's branding, logo design, whatever that might be, you could set up a profile on Fiverr and see if you can get some gigs as an artist, or Upwork, but primarily Fiverr, I think. I mean, April, will, you know, weigh in here about what a good gig site would be for a budding artist. But that might get you some work. It might get you some traction.
Well, I
You
can't
know,
think of
another suggestion along
I
the
did post some things on Instagram, and I got a lot of likes and follows for that. So
well, that's good, but that's not going to get you work.
It's not going to get work. That's what I was told to start with. But you know, at least it encourages me to post it somewhere else or something.
Yeah, yeah, and kind of build a second persona away from LinkedIn where you can actually get some traction on it. Bob, you had a point?
I was going to say an option that she might consider is donating her graphic skills to a local organization. You know, there's a church that's going to have a dinner. You know, well, gee, I'll do a little program for you, or a school, or any number of places that are happy to have someone donate something like that. And then, I mean, basically, she's then building a client base in that sense. You're not getting paid for it in all likelihood, or you might be, but I'm not worried about that. It's really just to get your stuff out there and to get some response from people that either are going to say thank you, or they're going to know somebody, or you can start to list on your LinkedIn profile, here's the graphic, here's some places that I've done graphic design work for.
That's a great suggestion.
And there are lots of organizations be happy to have you do something for them.
Great suggestion.
And again, it's a form of networking.
Right. Well, it's 12 noon my time here on the West Coast, and this has been a very lively call. I really want to thank all of you for showing up today. It's been a great conversation. I've loved talking to all of you. I hope this has been helpful for everyone to just get some ideas. And I just wanted to mention do a little promo. So I am going to launch a small group career coaching cohort coming up at the end of February, beginning of March. It'll be my 6-session program that goes through my 3 elements career builder framework. This is a program format that I've been using now for the last 4 or 5 years, and bringing it back into this group. So just a little heads up, you'll be getting notifications on that on email. And if it's something that might make sense for you, something to consider.
Thanks, John.
So look forward to seeing you all next month. Stay tuned for the recording, which will be published over the weekend. And have a great day. Have a great month.